ocean, a large, formidable and on the whole alien world to us air-breathing mammals, but it's also a place of joy, wonder and endless interest and information for us. It can also make some great cinema and video game creations, and ABZU, meaning Ocean of Wisdom for the Primeval Sea. Within the Mesopotamian religion, the game is using that mythology to take us on a deep-sea journey. Appropriate indeed for the 12-strong Giant Squid team's first title, headed up by Journey visual artist Matt Naver. Anyone who has played these artistically rich games will already know the sheer joy, wonder and tranquility they can deliver, with Journey striking a chord with a huge portion of us games players. The mesmerising beauty of the sea, schools of fish, a pod of whales in this linear tale of adventure can be even more intoxicating, accompanied by the elusive 13th member in Austin Wintory's sumptuous classical ambient soundtrack that can be listened to over and over again. It has that innocent yet informative tone, like the classic Howard Blake Snowman music. It completes this antithetical title to the majority of fast-paced, octane-orientated big boy action, instead delivering a calm, peaceful and yet engrossing adventure whilst affirming humans' insignificance in this vast world. You never ever feel the big fish in this pond. Now currently exclusive to the PC and PS4 for now, you can pick up on your chosen platform. Obviously aside Xbox One owners at present sadly, but I feel this is on the cards. Now here I am covering the PS4 release that I purchased from the PSN store and I've enjoyed over the past few days. As the game relies on its theme, flow and story, I will not delve into it too much and it won't really ruin the experience, but it plays somewhat like you would expect from Journey, and it's certainly not a long one. But again, this is a puzzling adventure, more about the experience and ironically the journey than the destination. So let's dive into the technical side, as it is my channel's porpoise after all. This PS4 release is presented in a fully native 1920 by 1080 image with an unlocked but fully V-synced frame rate, covered later. Using a rich and bright Mediterranean colour palette, it has a similar feel to Journey and The Witness that all fall within a similar transient and surreal experience. Animation is very smooth from your characters flapping fins, dorsal tails of others, and the thousands of fish swarming around you like a particle vortex, to the huge blue whales that swim alongside you, bringing home the gentle giant nature of many sea beasts, inverted commas. These are realised with a simple, almost cell shade that could be mistaken for flat vertex shading at times, but it complements the dream state intended, straying close enough to be recognisable at all times, but far enough to never encroach into realistic levels. Colour, light, sound and dark are used exquisitely here, changing the tone of each area and the mood as you play. Bright blue expanses open up before you as light seeps through the ocean surface. Bloom is used across surfaces, gated windows and from light bounce impeccably. Green kelp areas shift the tone mapping further still, with the base yellow of your helmet and guide still proud of the schemes in use, and it is a key ingredient to the game's aesthetic. Shadow maps are extensively used and happily dance across the floors, objects and from your head torch or dispersing sunlight, allowing you to see the animals above circling your area, casting on other objects whilst also receiving shadows with a good mix of static and per object maps. Yours also works the same, and when near the seabed the high precision can be appreciated. Your head torch and guides all cast dynamic light and shadow that suggests stencil shadows are in use here, as rock formations, objects all cast and scale within the light frustum. Colour bleeds out across your view, bouncing through and off the natural palette that comprises the seabed, the ambient light tone changing across various areas in a great touch. Light sources come from all areas, penetrating through objects with light touches of billboard crepuscular rays, baked global illumination, caustic reflections ripple and dance beneath the waves, while surface emulates refraction from below. Later levels cast much dark blues and blacks, with fish now sporting glowing eyes, and the music tempo changes to accompany this shift from a bright and almost serene safety early on to a more obvious danger, even though in reality as a diver myself, danger is always present, although not to this game's degree of course for me. It's perfectly proving how psychological the human brain is. In fact, the closest game I can akin this to is the mighty Echo the Dolphin on the Mega Drive or Mega CD, as that had a similar ambient, non-progressive tone, and one of my childhood favourites, and of course the movie Abyss. Now, much of the mood and world is filled with a rich selection of sea life, ranging from dolphins, white-tip reef sharks, orcas, even great whites, all have screen time. I've yet to see Nemo or Dory though, but Crush and crew make the trip down from the EAC as you hitch a ride. Kelp floats and sways in the current, folds when other animals brush past, and even when the player is left, bobs with the underwater currents in tempo with your surroundings. The world and its inhabitants all feel organic in motion. As light is dispersed under the surface, specular tones are kept to a minimum, aside surface visits or other tapestry occasions. This low albedo base, along with the game's post-AA, delivers a clean and sharp, if not completely shimmer-free image, helped by its post-processing and simpler texturing. Now, as far as the image goes, it is probably the weakest point, but only on thin edges and shader aliasing. Alpha effects are used for sand swirls near the bottom or bubbles which rise upwards, and particles cover the sea as you swim, fading in and out authentically. But it is the sheer quantity of animals on screen at once that delivers the most impressive feat. Now, some may be surprised to learn that this is also an Unreal Engine 4 title and, like Rime, does share a similar looking colour scheme and style. Now, using camera and per object motion blur is not only welcome but greatly enhances the look of these large schools as you dart around and through. This was a big challenge for the team to generate and move tens of thousands of fish at once. Memory batching into spatial groups was one trick the team used to achieve this dense population. Another is that each fish or mammal is a single static mesh that is instanced as one draw call to reduce overhead on the system and of course CPU, meaning that 5 species of fish could cover 20,000 instances on screen, all from only 5 draw calls. These are animated by interpolating the vertex mesh through morph target animation rather than a full skeletal rig, similar to blend shapes. Then lerping through the mesh all happens within the vertex shader, and when inside a bait ball, it is clear the team succeeded on its target, as it truly captures the natural beauty and wonder of this world. It's simply magnificent. Using vertices frugally across the game's characters, wildlife and collection of ancient ruins is another of the title's strong points. The angular look statues, limbs, creatures and pillars all complement the stylized world. Everything has a sense of scale, grandeur and grace in keeping with the world it portrays and the childlike helplessness of your adventure. It's a hark back to older RPG games that I am sure many enjoyed. Sitting on a rock and just admiring the synthesized ecosystem created here as the soundtrack floods out is a great chill out tool and would make one hell of a theme or screensaver. Now, performance is never an issue throughout most play, but it does run rather oddly an unlocked frame rate, but it never reaches the heights of 60 Hz or frames per second, sitting around the low 40s with an average of 36.5 across 10 plus minutes of capture in a wide range of areas. Now, the only time I could get a dip below what I feel would be a near perfect 30 Hz cap is when swimming within the tens of thousands strong bait ball. Now, these dips below 33 milliseconds never last for any significant degree, but only arrive unsurprisingly in these richer GPU strained sections. With a vast quantity of vertices and polygon count on screen all whipping and flurrying around, add in the high sample per object motion blur, it can dip to a low of 21 in my tests here, but this is a genuine edge case. As the run of play sits only 8 or so frames higher than 30 FPS, it straddles the line of no man's land really. Never feeling as smooth as 60, but it really only feeling like a 30 Hz game with small fluctuations across a 5 or 10 FPS range, taking the edge out of that. It always feels smooth and with inverted controls, very easy to control and master, but this can be changed, mind. My recommendation would be to add a 30 cap option within the minimal menu and resolve any issues that some may have with this rate. As the stats prove, it is a very smooth game currently, helped with its lovely motion blur, and could happily sit at 30 FPS 99.9% of the time, and which a cap it would ensure that. It is a striking piece of art and another impressive experience that, although only lasting around 5 hours, it can go on much longer if you enjoy it slower or return to unlock its secrets. It may not be for some, and you have to know that this is always a single player, slow and methodical game designed around the feeling of isolation and exploration. With great speakers or headphones on a well configured TV, you will be submerged in exploring the depths without even getting your feet wet. Flipping fantastic. And as always, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this, and if you did, then please hit the like and subscribe button, as it really helps support the channel and the work that I put together. Please leave all your thoughts and feedback below, and share this or anything else where you deem appropriate. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I dropped my keys. Hello? Hello? Has somebody down there seen my keys? Hello? I knew I should have put them on a string.